Alright, let's get ready for our final summer body painting. Hi, how are you? Hope you've been well. I'm gonna very quickly explain that I have mixed a lot of colors off the camera. So I've gone in here with the orange and a white, I'm pretty sure, just to do the top half of this face. The pink that I'm using here is very diluted, but I do have two pinks. This one is called pink. And I'm gonna go in a second with magenta. This will be our sky. I've decided to do a sunset on top of the water for the end of summer. I thought it would be kind of nice to close it on something like that since I started with the moon coming up at dawn. To make a sun, I've outlined in my magenta color just an awkward shape on my neck. Listen, I didn't have my white cream pencil, it is finished. So I went with whatever I had. And I used magenta here to kind of hide the awkward lines and blend down my neck. When the brush is dry enough, I do blend it back into that pink and hopefully it looks seamless to everyone else. It looked pretty seamless to me when I was filming it, so that's good to go. And that is our warm sunset sky. Oh yeah, I forgot to paint my ears halfway through and I fixed that problem, so there you go. The image that I am referencing, there's two different types of water. For the top half, or for the deep waters I should say, I've mixed teal and a dark-ish blue. It's not the darkest blue I have, but it's dark enough. And I've mixed those together because I did want to go in later with a darker blue. A couple inches thick is that strip, and I've left a gap between the top of what will be the ocean and what is the bottom of the sky, because I am going to incorporate mountains. For the second layer of water, it is my light blue. I haven't mixed it with anything. In my reference image, they don't blend the two different blues together, so I haven't blended the two different blues together. I liked it that way as well because it was a contrast to the sky, which I did try to blend it. This is my darkest blue that I go in with now. I'm very carefully trying to trace my collarbone to make mountains. And then pretty soon you see me realize that that is such a waste of time. And then I focus on having a very straight, which isn't really a straight line, but I tried my best, man. I don't know, I have bones, I'm 3D. My bestest, most straightest line that I could muster. Look at me here trying to make some interesting mountains and very quickly deciding to go with my gut. I hide my sun a little bit because I did want it to be a sunset, not a full sun, just a little lower. And I go back in with my magenta and make sure to blend everything that has crease. This is my neck and I've been twisting and it does cause some creases. And with a smaller, finer brush, I go in and try and you can see what I'm doing. I'm trying to not leave any blank spaces. It does require a pretty steady hand, but we got there. Ah, my chaos and my panic here. This is a very dark purple that I'm going to attempt to make clouds with. Oh, and in a couple seconds, you're going to see that. And then I'm going to see that too. Oh dear. I go back in and fix that later, so just bear with me. The clouds, I do use two different purples. I use this dark purple here and lilac a bit later, but the clouds I did want to make purple. It is a nice contrast to the yellow and orange and pink, but also not blue, so it's nice. My clouds don't match, they are very asymmetrical, and I do go back in and layer with darkness and light later. And here I use my lilac to create more clouds closer to the land or closer to the sea. At this point, I decided to go a little ham with the clouds. Clouds are just little fluffs. So they don't really have structure, do what you will. I just kind of thought it was a little plain without the clouds, so I did a cloud here, I did a cloud there, I do another one on the other shoulder, because ultimately what is a cool sunset without some cool clouds? Okay. To clean up a mistake like that, I use a Q-tip and some clean water. Because these are water-soluble paints, it will come right off. Unfortunately, the water-soluble paints underneath also came off along with their blend. But that's okay. I pick up the absolute wrong pink and paint my entire nose, and you definitely can't tell for the rest of the video. Or at least I couldn't, until I was taking photos and then realized, oh man, I look like a clown. Moving on. This is another mistake that I made. So I went in with creams here. I used white and yellow to kind of create a highlight and realized pretty quickly that this kind of medium doesn't work well. So creams blend beautifully on top of water-based body paints, but I didn't want to blend. I wanted to stipple and I wanted a rough shading and highlights. So I do the exact same thing instead of, focusing on the fact that I messed up. and then I take a quick breather and finish my sun. For the sun, I go in with yellow in the middle strip. I use a red orange that I mixed together for the bottom, and the top I leave white. When I say I leave white, I paint it white. I'm not that white. And I blend it where I can, but for some reason I couldn't find that footage, so just blend it as best as you can. I don't think it even matters if you can't. And then with watercolor, I use the light pink orange that I went in with earlier, and underneath the clouds where the sun would hit, I create my highlights. Because the sun is so low, the lights would be coming from underneath the clouds, and because it is behind the mountains, it wouldn't really hit the water either. The reflections would be reflecting off of the clouds. So the more highlights are underneath your clouds, the more you can transfer them to your ocean. I use different colors for different parts of the sky of the cloud, if that makes sense. So I'll go in with some peachy tones, I'll go in with some yellows, some darker oranges for the different parts of the clouds, depending on where they are in the sky. For this part, listen, I used a duo fiber brush. In my photo there was current and it looked very much like what I am doing. I just didn't expect it to turn out like this. So I dipped my brush in water and I tried to make it a smoother blend without having it blend. It's the best that I could do, and I couldn't really fix it because it was a darker blue on top of a lighter blue. It didn't turn out too bad, I guess. For the lighter blue part of it, in my photo, they looked like squiggly lines. So there's like a whole couple minutes of me just staring at my little squiggly lines being like, this can't be it, but that's all that there was, so that's what I did. For the highlights on the ocean. Now, again, because the sun is behind a mountain, you wouldn't be getting a highlight on the ocean. You'd be getting a reflection from the bottom side of the clouds. And it wouldn't be a light reflection, it would be pretty dark because the sun is setting and there are clouds. So wherever you've got your highlights on your clouds, that's where you would put your reflections onto the ocean, but again, sparingly. I then go in with some final details, darkening some parts of clouds that are nowhere near the sun, and some other highlights in other places. I basically went a little off the rails here. I did a lot of little details in places which you don't need to do, but I got lost in it. That is my final summer look. It is a sunset on the water and I hope you liked it and I hope you stick around for what's next. I don't even know what's next. It's going to be a surprise for all of us. Thanks for staying tuned this entire season and I'll see you all in the next video. Oh, light changed. Bye!